Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Digital Marketing Can podcast, your go-to source for the latest insights, strategies, and stories in the digital marketing world. I'm Prince Kumar, your host, and today we have an incredibly special guest joining us. Owen Garitty is the founder of FPW Media. Since establishing FPW Media in 2013, he has been transforming the traditional marketing landscape by putting client needs at the forefront. With a deep passion for visual storytelling, branding, and design, cultivated from his childhood experience in photography, Owen has overseen numerous successful projects and built lasting partnerships across industries. His dedication extends beyond the business realm, highlighted by his direction of the acclaimed film Lionhearted in 2018, which explored the post-war experiences of veterans. Today, he is here to share his expertise on mastering ROI tracking in multi-touch marketing campaigns. And we are excited to dive in these insights and learn more from him. Hi, Owen. A warm welcome on our show.
Hi, Prince. Thank you for having me.
Okay. To start with, can you introduce the audience about yourself and share a bit about your corporate journey, especially about the FPW Media?
Absolutely. My name is Owen Garitty, and I am the founder and lead creative of FPW Media, which is a vertically integrated creative studio located in the Pacific Northwest in the United States. I began my visual storytelling journey at a pretty young age. I started doing photography when I was 11 and started doing it professionally when I was about 15. So I had a very non-traditional upbringing. I'm only 34, but I've been doing this for over half my life now. And I built upon my successes in the photography realm to be able to create FPW Media when I actually left university and decided that I was going to start the business. And so what we have done and why we have gotten to where we are now, where we have about 50 employees and we work all over the United States and then increasingly internationally, is that we have put this client experience at the forefront. FPW stands for fast-paced world. And so, timelines, the experience that the client has, all of these things are incredibly important to us. And we want to do things a lot differently than other agencies. We have a concept at FPW called the unagency. And some of the core tenets of that, a lot less ego, I think experts in the room. So you're not just dealing with people who, might be an account person. You actually have somebody who's adding value to a meeting. And a really deep understanding of what a client does, their business, the way that they go to market, and really partnering with them. Our average engagement is many years. It's not just hey, we're going to do this project and move on. It's we really like to partner with clients and fully understand what they do as a business.
Got it. And how many years have been into this business, like FPW?
FPW has been in business for about 12 years, and I say about because when I first started, as any entrepreneur can say, we didn't have the perfect direction. It wasn't just a straight path to success, of course. We kind of found our footing for a couple of years, but once we did that, we started to really take off. So, in its current version, it's been around for about 11 years.
Oh, great. It has been with a good time. So now, coming to the topic that we have for today. So, can you help the audience understand what generally is a multi-touch marketing campaign and why it's important for brands?
Absolutely. So, today's media landscape is, I would say, more fractured than it's ever been. You have all of the old legacy media, whether that be traditional television, whether that be out-of-home advertising, whether it be print, and then you have all of the digital touch points, right? You have, digital Google ads, that's what we think of, display ads. You have connected TV, you have streaming, You have all of these other tactics, obviously, social media being ubiquitous, push advertising, text-based, SMS-based advertising, all of these different channels that are available to you as a marketer to reach an audience. And so then, there always is the question of, I have a finite budget. How do I spread that budget between all of those different channels, or do I just pick certain channels and focus on those? And that's something that we do a lot with clients, where we do, a little bit of an exercise of, first and foremost, what are we trying to accomplish? So, with a multi-touch marketing campaign, oftentimes we find that people just go to the tactics and they lose sight of the design. The tactics shouldn't be done just because we've heard, oh, this platform or this channel performs really well. It's like, okay, maybe, but what are we actually trying to accomplish? And so starting with a really clear, defined, what is our desired outcome, and then building the tactics and the different channel mix from there is how we find the most success with a multi-touch campaign.
So, what foundational components should brand have in place before launching this multi-touch campaigns, so that they can ensure that while they are implementing this entire setup out there, they get the effective ROI for which they were looking for?
Yeah. So, like I said before, it always starts with the desired outcome. And then we need to have a framework for measurement and then a framework for refinement. So, for instance, let's say that we are trying to promote a delivery service in Delhi, right? Something a little closer to home to you. Very, very crowded landscape, right? For anybody who's been to Delhi, there's a bazillion different delivery services in the city. And so we know we have a lot of competition, but let's say we're trying to grow market share by 10 or 15%. So we're going to create a campaign. We're going to identify some tactics. Let's say that our main tactics are going to be physical advertising right around the city, coupled with, we've got a great SMS list. So we're going to push text-based, deal-based advertising, right? So what we would want to do is like, okay, let's have 4 different creative sets for the text-based advertising. Let's see, of those 4, which is performing the best right out of the gate. Let's also put slightly different messaging in different parts of the city, and then use, heat mapping technology to see where are we getting our most orders from, and is that creative having a better impact in one area than the other, so that then we can focus our budget, right? Because let's assume we don't have an infinite budget, so we're a small startup and we're trying to figure out, okay, with our marketing dollars, how do we stretch them as far as possible? And so this idea being that we are going to measure what we're doing on a very ongoing basis. And we have a lot of leading indicators, right? We could even be looking at it, and in order to do, especially like a campaign like this, so you have all these moving parts, you want to be looking at it daily. So you want to be seeing, okay, how are we doing? And then let's make adjustments. Maybe we need to layer in search. Maybe we realize, okay, just these 2 outbound tactics aren't going to work. We need to capture some search intent. We're seeing that in this, geographic area of the city, people are searching for new delivery services at a much higher rate, for instance. Okay, well, we're going to put that in. So it's really making sure, there's no one size fits all, but it's making sure that there's a very clear and concise plan, and that everybody who's touching the campaign, both on the client side and say the agency partner side, is all aligned to measure, report, and refine in a very formulaic way, because otherwise, all the details can kind of get lost, and you're not going to have as optimized of a campaign from. And then really, once you start to get enough data to see what is doing well, you're going to put more of your chips on that side of the table, right? So you're going to lean into the things that are performing really well, and probably stop doing some of the underperforming things, so that you're not spending money where you're not getting a result.
Very right, Keith. So it's all about just measuring, the effectiveness of each and every step of the customer journey.
Absolutely.
So when you say about the customer journey, definitely for few of the businesses out there, they might not be that much technical to understand this stuff. So can you help them understand that how one can effectively map the customer journey? And also, what role does this play in improving the entire ROI of our campaign?
Yeah, we always think about a multi-touch marketing campaign as a evolving story that we want to have a pick your own adventure component. I think everybody remembers from their childhood the pick your own adventure. You can either read this part of the book or that part of the book, but it's telling an evolving story. And so we want to have these campaigns structured in a way where at each touch point, right? So that maybe we see a physical ad and then we get an email and then we go to the web page. Each time we are evolving what that customer or prospect or potential client knows about us as a brand and offer. And we are providing value along the way so that we're not just talking at them to talk at them. We are either providing value, one, giving them a discount, or showing them pricing that is competitive, or teaching them something, or giving them an emotional experience, right? That's another way to provide value. A really good piece of creative doesn't have to have pricing, doesn't have to have a discount, doesn't have to have anything. If it really resonates with that target audience and they come away saying, oh, wow, I like this brand, I have a positive outlook of this brand. Or another way to do it is we trigger something within that person. They don't want to miss out, right? We play up the FOMO effect, for instance, or we do something. But again, that is providing a kind of value. So at every single stage, we want to make sure that we are providing some level of value to the person, because consumers are really, really smart. And they see so many pieces of advertising that if
Definitely.
our advertising doesn't provide some value, it's just noise. Um, so that kind of goes, to a different point, which is content is absolutely king, right? You can have this great map of the campaign of every touch point that you want, but if you don't have really good content and a good story that's well articulated, you can have the best plan of all the places you're going to put the ads, but it's still not going to work because the ads aren't good, right? Or the content isn't good. But to circle back around, because I don't think I fully answered the question for the viewers, is that the map is just that. It's really a linear map of, we expect somebody to learn about us for the first time via these 5 platforms, and then we expect they're going to go down the funnel further by interacting here, and then we're going to send them an offer over here, and then they're going to convert on our website, for instance, or they're going to convert in our, or whatever it may be, or they're going to fill out a form to learn more information, and that's a conversion. So it's just literally as simple of on a spreadsheet or one of the various softwares that allows you to do this, mapping out a journey, right? You're drawing a ideal customer map of how somebody's going to come through your marketing funnel and eventually purchase or sign up or whatever your conversion is.
Definitely, definitely. So one of the other advantage that I see about is that in this multi-touch campaign, like when we are planning for communication for each and every step out there, there is a greater chance of providing a more personalized communications out. Because currently, like, one thing that you mentioned out there, that there are, when you go on social media, when you go on any of the platforms, you will be seeing thousands of ads every day out. So one thing that generally differentiates us from others is that at that point of time when the person was looking for that, if we can have those personalized communication, that will definitely help in terms of understanding their journey and then putting our the ad at the right time. So that can definitely increase our chances of conversions, which I feel.
Absolutely. I think the latest statistic, at least in the United States, it's a little bit different globally in different markets, but was that about 70% more likelihood to convert. A personalized ad versus a non-personalized ad was almost 70% more effective. And the barrier of personalized is pretty low from that type of study when they're actually looking at that. They just mean that it's unique to the audience type, not unique to the individual right? That you're just getting down to the audience type. Like, myself, people in their 30s who live in a specific area. That's unique, right? You don't have to go down to the Prince Kumar, in this very specific area, right? That's not, you don't even have to get to that. You
Okay.
just have to get to the level of you're talking to this audience segment in a unique way.
Def- def- So now, let's say, the audience have started understanding that and they have started implementing them into their campaign. But what are the different strategies do you use for monitoring and optimizing this entire campaign so that we can ensure that we are delivering the best result? So if you can just list down some of the prominent KPIs or the things that we need to monitor to have a better campaign result.
Yeah. So we really like sales qualified leads, which can mean a lot of different things in different campaigns. But I think our feeling always is that as marketers, we can't always control somebody actually converting, right? We can control that we've gotten the right person to the right place that could convert, right? And so wherever possible with a campaign, we want to really measure our total effectiveness on sales qualified leads. Because ultimately the closing part, the marketing oftentimes can't do that or doesn't fully influence that. So that's our number one KPI always. From there, though, we're also looking at how many click-throughs do we have? Not just click-through conversions, but how many eyeballs are we getting? How much engagement of those like eyeballs are we getting? So really, what is the quality of the people? Again, not taking that they actually convert, but just that they're coming. And that helps us. And oftentimes we see, okay, maybe where we're driving them is not fully optimized for that segment of the audience, right? So that's, then we go a level deeper, which is, okay, of the people that are coming, where are they coming from? What's our source median, right? What subgroup are they in, if we have subgroups for the campaign? And then is there any delta between those parameters, right? So for instance, people that are coming through search advertising are spending twice as long interacting on our landing page. Okay, well, that's really valuable information. So either we're not telling as good of a story on other tactics, or they're just higher or lower in the funnel because they're searching, they're ready to go, or. So then we make changes to every piece of the campaign based on that. And it's, you're ingesting all of these different pieces and parameters and making changes, iterating. So we always want campaigns to be this living, breathing thing. It's not a set it and forget it thing. It's something that our teams are always in them daily, or at least 5 days a week, refining, making little tweaks, pulling the levers, right? In my mind, I always think of like people sitting in front of one of those old steam machines, like pulling levers. That's obviously not how it works, but that's kind of the visual of like, we want people to be very hands-on. So even in a world of AI optimization, of all of these algorithmic things, we want humans checking all of that, because a tool is only as good as the person who's using it. And so we want to make sure that we are always looking at the leading indicators, because as I think a lot of people who are maybe a little bit further on this type of project than others know, the AI can go wrong very quickly if you're not supervising. And you can spend a lot of money, because all of the platforms have an incentive for you to spend the maximum amount of money. So you have to be very, very, diligent and careful to make sure that you're optimizing at every step.
Perfect, perfect. Very rightly, you have highlighted all the important KPIs that one should be measuring it out in. Any last piece of advice that you would like to give to the marketers out there who want to, work on this or who want to get the better hold of the campaigns?
Yeah. Content is king. Start with something compelling. It's a lot easier to successfully market a message or an offer or a piece of content that is good, that is compelling, and will resonate with an audience. If you do that, you're already 50% of the way there. And so it gives you a huge head start on so many other brands, because surprisingly, a lot of people don't focus on that. And so if you've done that, you're already way ahead of everybody else.
Definitely, this was a valuable advice, and definitely content is the thing that you have shared upon. Whatever things that we are doing upon, if we are not focusing on the uniqueness of the content, giving those experiences out there, then whatever strategies that we implement, that will not get success. So this was a very enlightening session, and Owen, thank you so much for sharing your expertise on the mastering ROI tracking in multi-touch marketing. To our listeners, we hope you find today's conversation as engaging and informative as we did. If you would like to learn more about Owen's work or connect with FPW Media, don't hesitate to check out their website and follow their projects. You won't want to miss out the incredible work that they do. Thank you once again, Owen, for being on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.